Hello, welcome to the web-based 2024-2025 Cyclical Monitoring for Continuous Improvement training. I am Shatarupa Poddar, Division Chief for the Central Region with oversight of the cyclical monitoring process at the Bureau of Special Education. This training should be reviewed by the Special Education Director and other key members of your school who will be involved in the monitoring process scheduled for your school this year. This training will provide an overview of the monitoring process, including pertinent timelines, pre-monitoring preparation to be completed by your school, monitoring activities performed by your team, the BSc chair and peers, and the post-monitoring process. This preview will help you and other members of your team to complete the monitoring activities efficiently and reduce the stress that may be associated with this cyclical process. The first section provides an overview of the rationale for monitoring. The cyclical monitoring process is a federal requirement from OSEP as part of BSE's general supervision obligation. BSE monitors all school districts and charter schools, also known as local education agencies or LEAs, once every 6 years. Throughout this training, when I refer to the LEAs, I will mean both school districts and charter schools. In addition, BSE may also monitor additional LEAs via target or focus monitoring based on specific concerns. These concerns may be a result of data collected annually from all LEAs or systemic concerns brought to BSE's attention by families or other stakeholders. The data collected during the cyclical monitoring process is used to complete annual federal compliance and performance data requirements included in the state's annual performance report or APR, meeting SPP or state performance plan targets, and determining whether your LEA annually meets all state and federally mandated requirements. The data collected from all LEAs over time also helps the state to identify systemic gaps, if any, and provide technical assistance to mitigate those gaps. Learning from monitoring experiences during the pandemic, BSE has implemented a monitoring process that incorporates the efficiencies of both virtual and on-site processes. The current monitoring process includes web uploads, virtual, and on-site in-person components. The first efficiency is this training you are now viewing. Instead of one 3-hour-long training at a patent site on a specific day with paper handouts of materials, you now have the flexibility of viewing this training and its associated modules at the patent and CMCI websites at your convenience within a required time frame. In addition, you can download the slides for review with your team as often as needed. Please note that it is important for relevant members of your team to complete this training and inform your BSE chair of the date of completion by September 9th, 2024. This hybrid monitoring process does not change the content or integrity of the on-site processes used in the past. LEAs now will have increased lead time to complete the FSA and EBR processes and collect and upload relevant information to the CMCI website. Your BSE chair is available to provide technical assistance and supports you may need to prepare for this monitoring. If needed, Additional peers and/or advisors may provide support to the monitoring team. Previously, on-site monitoring used to be a 3-day event. Now, monitoring is considered a 2-week process. Broadly speaking, the BSc chair and 3 peers will be on-site for 1.5 to 2 days and complete the rest of the processes within this 2-week frame. Peers will conduct the student file review and classroom observations on-site. They will also conduct the parent and teacher interviews for these students by phone or virtually during the same week as the on-site visit. The BSc chair will conduct the administrative interview and the exit conference virtually during these 2 weeks. All post-monitoring activities will also be conducted virtually. As the LEA leader, it is important for you to pay attention to the monitoring timelines and provide relevant materials in a digital format within these timelines. Relevant materials include documents supporting the FSA and student files needed as part of the FSA. Student files are considered complete when they include all required signatures, whether they are provided digitally or in hard copy. During the last year, LEAs who chose to scan or digitize signed student files as they were created found it easier to respond to requests for files as compared to others who maintained only hard copy records. Another flexibility afforded to LEAs is in how student files needed for the FSA are provided to the BSc chair. You may upload student files for selected students to the CMCI web-based system, or you may provide your BSc chair access to a roster of the selected students on your own Student Information System or SIS. It is recommended that at least one LEA staff be designated the point person and be readily available to support the BSc chair during the 2 weeks of monitoring. The CMCI process has its major components listed on this slide. The FSA is completed by an LEA team and includes your feedback on policies, procedures, and program implementation. It also includes your analysis of the completed parent, teacher, and student surveys, as well as the Educational Benefit Review or EBR. The EBR process is outlined in another training module that is available on the Monitoring Resource webpage, where all resources are housed. During the 2-week monitoring window, the chairperson will conduct the administrative interview and exit conference virtually. The BSc chair and peers will be on site for 2 days to review student files of selected students, conduct classroom observations. Peers will also conduct the parent, special education, and general education teacher interviews for these students within that week. Once all the information collected by peers is submitted and the FSA is reviewed, the BSc chair will conduct the exit conference virtually and provide a broad overview of findings and anticipated corrective action steps, if any. As I have mentioned, all training and resource documents are available at the link on this slide. The slides for this training module and training modules on EBR, Table 8A, CMCI web system are also available at this link for LEAs. By September 9th, 2024, please inform your BSc chair of the date these training modules were completed by your team. In addition, peers may review the training modules from May 2024 at the same link. A peer survey will be disseminated to peers and must be returned to BSc by September 30th, 2024 for peers to be included on the 24-25 peer roster. In July, a pen link was issued that provides official notification to the LEAs monitored, the date of monitoring, and the BSc chair assigned to the monitoring. On rare occasions, your BSc advisor may not be the BSc chair assigned to your monitoring. These decisions are made by BSc leadership based on logistical concerns. However, rest assured, the BSc chair and your BSc advisor will be working very closely to complete the monitoring process. Your superintendent or chief executive officer will also receive an email that includes the official notification letter to your LEA. Please watch for this email. By September 9, 2024, all relevant LEA team members should complete this training you are reviewing now and additional trainings on the CMCI website. The LEA Special Education Director must inform the BSc Chair of the date when all relevant team members completed the trainings. Following the training, your BSc Chair will contact you to discuss the monitoring schedule and provide technical assistance as requested. Your BSc advisor is a great resource as you prepare for the monitoring and is ready to support you. Now, we will review the CMCI process and critical timelines. At the start of the school year, you will receive the random sample of student names for your educational benefit review, which is sent in an email to your superintendent or CEO. Please look out for this time-sensitive email. Getting the list of students early in the school year provides your LEA time to complete the review process and upload all files to the CMCI system in a timely manner. Parent, student, and teacher survey notification letters are available when you log into your CMCI webpage. These can be sent out at any time during the school year at your convenience. Surveys close 45 days prior to the monitoring, and the survey results must be summarized and reported in the FSA. The FSA is also available for you to start working on at the beginning of the school year. The FSA and all supporting documents are submitted 30 days prior to the monitoring. 10 days before your monitoring, your BSc chair will provide a list of 10 students selected for student file reviews and the list of students selected for the federal child count. Please collect all required documentation for these student files and have them available for review by the BSc chair and peers on site by the date of monitoring. This slide and the next slide provide a visual on the monitoring process during the 2 weeks of monitoring. This slide is focused on days 1 to 3 of monitoring and identifies what occurs when, as well as the persons responsible for these tasks. This slide provides an outline of tasks that occur after the on-site visit and identifies the role of relevant people on the team. This slide reviews the same information, but from the perspective of the tasks embedded in the monitoring process. This next slide provides an overview of the tasks the BSc chair completes during the 2-week monitoring process and provides additional details on the documents the LEA should provide to the BSc chair by the first day of monitoring. I would like to repeat that the student files needed for the EBR, FSA file reviews, and federal child count verification can be provided digitally either by uploading them to the CMCI website or by providing the BSc chair access to your SIS. The BSc chair will provide you with the interactive e-doc for the teacher class report. During the 2-week monitoring window, an LEA point person should be readily available for the chairperson to contact as needed. This slide provides an overview of what occurs after the 2-week monitoring process and the mandatory timelines for the LEA to complete required corrective action, if any. After the monitoring, once all documentation has been verified and the raw data is summarized, BSE will issue a corrective action verification report or CAV. All these timelines are based on the date the monitoring report or CAV is issued. While all these timelines are important, the most critical one, right after your monitoring is completed, is the one about EBR. If your LEA is cited for non-compliance on EBRs, then typically your BSE chair will let you know that during your exit interview. You will have 30 days from the date of the CAV report to complete corrective action required for non-compliant EBRs. All other corrective actions must be completed within 1 year after the CAV report date. However, please note, if improvement plans are written as part of the CAV plan, they may have longer deadlines. Now that you have reviewed the monitoring process and timelines, this section outlines activities your LEA team will complete prior to the monitoring. On the CMCI webpage, you will find a training module on how to maneuver the CMCI website. Please review the module and take some time to do it because it is extremely helpful in accurate completion of your FSA on the website. The parent, teacher, and student surveys are available on the CMCI website from the beginning of the school year. The survey notification letter for your LEA is also available on your CMCI webpage. A copy of the letter sent to parents and teachers should be submitted with the FSA. The survey will be closed 45 days prior to your date of monitoring. Please review the results and submit a summary within the FSA. The training on completing the EBR review process is available on the CMCI webpage as a separate module. Since you will have the names of students for EBR at the beginning of the year, you will have the option of completing the EBR review as a professional development activity if you choose to do so. You also have the flexibility of uploading all EBR-related documents to the CMCI website at any time prior to FSA submission. The Facilitated Self-Assessment, or FSA, is a tool to identify your strengths and challenges. It has 23 sections. Each section outlines the standards to be met, the regulatory base for these standards, and the procedures undertaken by your LEA and BSE in completing the review. The FSA should be completed by a LEA team and is available from the beginning of the school year for you to work on. The FSA must be submitted on the CMCI website 30 days prior to date of monitoring. Answer all narrative questions in the FSA. Provide links to your website or upload policies, written procedures, and practices to support your narrative. BSE will review a maximum of 10 student files per FSA area, unless otherwise indicated by your BSE chair. These files may be uploaded to the CMCI website, or you may provide the BSE chair access to your SIS for a direct review. The SPP data for your LEA and state comparison will be pre-populated in the FSA. Please use the dashboard embedded in your FSA to analyze your data. This convenience will assist you in answering relevant questions appropriately. The BSE chair will also specify and identify items to be provided for BSE review. This slide identifies the FSA items that are directly related to the SPP indicators. Even when your LEA meets SPP requirements, please review the questions and answer the relevant ones. A review of this slide will assist you to identify and collect the specific board policies, notices, and written procedures you need to submit with your FSA. On this slide is a list of FSA areas that require you to submit student files as applicable. Again, you have the option of submitting student files through the CMCI website or providing access to your SIS. Your BSc chair will provide the caseload age range form or teacher's class report as an interactive PDF form. This can be filled out electronically and uploaded to the CMCI website or provided to your BSc chair. The BSc chair will review the files of the students listed on the federal child count verification. For the monitoring process to be conducted smoothly, please ensure that prior to day 1 of monitoring, you have either uploaded all relevant FSA student files to the CMCI website or provided access to your SIS. You have identified how and when the peers will be contacting general education and special education teachers and parents. You have coordinated the logistics of conducting the virtual administrative interview with your chair. Now I will go over what you can expect to occur during your monitoring in the next section. During monitoring, LEAs are encouraged to identify a point person who is available to the BSc chair to provide support and answer any questions. Your BSc chair will contact you to determine a time and date for the virtual administrative interview based on mutual convenience. The purpose is to provide your chair with an overview of your programs and highlight the elements you are proud of. Review the administrative interview items as you prepare for this meeting. Attendees from the LEA will comprise of the superintendent or chief executive officer, special education director, building principals, and anyone else the LEA would like to participate. On day 2 and 3 of the monitoring, your BSc chair and 3 peers will be on site to review complete files of the 10 selected students and conduct classroom observations. The BSc chair may request a larger number of student files. This request will be made ahead of the monitoring with pre-approval by the division chief. If your LEA chooses to present the files electronically, please ensure all files are complete and there is enough technology support to assist the chair and peers to complete file reviews in the allocated time. During this on-site visit, peers or the BSc chair will conduct classroom observations of students selected in the random sample. The site of observation will be the student's regular or special education classroom, where this student receives most of their special education services. During this on-site visit, the chair will also complete a walkthrough of relevant classrooms to conduct the facilities check. Peers will conduct parent and teacher interviews by phone or virtually on days 2 to 5 of monitoring. In our experience, the interview process runs smoothly when LEAs identified whether the interviews would be done by phone or virtually, provided the peers and teachers a block of time to conduct these interviews. If concerns are expressed about caller ID, these are mitigated when both peers and teachers are advised to use *67 before making a call. There is no change from past practice in making parent calls. Peers should be provided parent contact information and preferred times to call. Please discuss and clarify any concerns on these issues with your BSc chair prior to the monitoring so that peers, teachers, and parents can complete the interview process smoothly. The federal child count list will be provided to you at the same time as the random student sample, that is 10 days prior to monitoring. You will provide the federal child count files to the BSc chair in the same manner as your random student sample files. The BSc chair will verify that these students had valid IPs as listed in the December 1 child count. If your LEA is cited for a student not having a valid IP on December 1, your LEA may have to return some federal funds to the IU. After completing the monitoring process, the BSc chair will schedule a virtual exit interview with relevant members of the LEA team. During this meeting, the chair will provide an overview of what may be anticipated in the monitoring report and the subsequent steps. The next few slides will provide an overview of activities that will be conducted by the BSc chair and the LEA team after the monitoring process is completed. The monitoring report, also known as the Corrective Action Verification or CAV report, will be issued by Leader Services once all components of the CMCI review are completed. The CAV will be emailed to the LEA by Leader Services. It is very important that on the CMCI website, the email addresses of your superintendent or chief executive officer and the special education director are accurate. You may refer back to the slide in the timeline section that provides a visual of critical benchmarks. Within 15 days of the date of the CAV, the BSc chair will contact the LEA and the relevant patent consultant to schedule a Corrective Action Verification Plan or CAVP meeting. This meeting must be held within 60 days of the CAV report date. The LEA is encouraged to invite IU staff participation in the planning and development of the CAVP. During this first meeting, the LEA team, BSc chair, patent consultant, and the IU staff, if included, will collaborate to develop specific actions to address areas cited as non-compliant in the monitoring report. Per OSEP and IDEA requirements, LEAs must correct systemic non-compliance and individual student corrective actions within 1 year. If this timeline is not met, BSc is obligated to identify that specific LEA as non-compliant in federally mandated reporting. The LEA team and the BSc chair may mutually identify shorter timelines or check-ins prior to this 1-year deadline so that all items can be closed out in a timely manner. If citations were issued for specific student files, the individual corrective action plan or ICAP for each student will be verified by the chair by review of files developed after the monitoring report was issued. Items identified as systemically non-compliant will also require file reviews. If an improvement plan is needed, IUTAC and patent consultants can provide resources to help create the improvement plan. Once all corrective actions are complete and verified by the chair, the Bureau Director will issue a closure letter to the superintendent or the chief executive officer indicating that the monitoring has been closed. Please note that even if the monitoring is closed out, the LEA may still have open improvement plans that will need to be addressed and closed out subsequently. Additional resources that you might want to review are listed here. These links can be accessed from this PowerPoint on the CMCI website homepage. All monitoring resources are housed on the CMCI website homepage. As you can see, the link to the monitoring resources is right under the login box. There is no need to log in to access these resources, so anyone can access them. Your BSc advisor is always available to provide additional supports and answer questions. This concludes the training on cyclical monitoring and continuous improvement. Thank you for taking the time to review this training. I wish you all the best for a wonderful new school year. Thank you.